supposed to say that to you? Test. Test. Test, test, test. Okay, we're here. Good. what's going on. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Oregon High School. Welcome to the class of 2028. We are really excited to have you. We've heard wonderful things about this large group, 340 students in the 8th grade, and this is a really important transition to high school. And I am so excited for the experience that you are going to have over the next 4 years here at Oregon High School. And most importantly, the experience that your kids are going to have. Because I am Jim Pleiner. I've been here for the last 9 years, and it's been my privilege to serve as principal, to help lead in this community. And there are some amazing human beings that are going to be a part of your child's journey from tonight until kind of our top goal. And our top goal at Oregon High School is to prepare your kids for what comes after high school. Getting a diploma is only part of their journey, and helping them to discover their passions, to build on their talents, and to inspire them to form a picture about where high school is going to take them in the future. Every year we assemble a panel of our alums, and we did it again January 3rd, and we had kids who come back to Oregon High School after leaving us, and then they share their stories in the PAC. We put panels in the Innovation Center around our building, and we hear about their journeys after high school and the things that happened while they were here that were an important part of being ready for what's next for them. And so the voices of the teachers, the voices of counselors, principals, and, our alums are a big part of your child's journey, and we're really excited. I want to do a quick check. How many of you have been here before for this night? Because this isn't your first kid. Okay, that's not many. I think there's a lot of folks. So if you're first-timers, you may have a little anxiety. And as we roll through our presentation tonight, we'll cover a little bit about the registration process so you understand how to sign up for classes and what classes are most appropriate given your child's circumstance and interest. Secondly, we want you to know a little bit about what the graduation requirements are so that you have that in mind as you schedule. Third, we're going to list and share a bunch of resources for academic support, but when you leave here, you're going to be overwhelmed with information. You're going to have this slide deck. We'll send it to you. The thing that I want you to leave with is a feeling that you know that you're going to be supported and you're going to get what your child needs to be successful, not only tonight, not only during the registration process, but over the next 4 years. Thumb check, are we good with that? Okay, if I were in your seats, that's what I would want to hear, and I promise you that is what we are about. We're going to identify those best electives for you and for your kids and understand our focus of our summer orientation as we roll. We also, we have a huge and wonderful team here, and you're going to meet some of those folks tonight. We're really fortunate to have some really talented people here that are invested in this community and this school and each and every kid that crosses our pathway. My team, over here I've got Maggie Zawicki, who is also, Maggie Zawicki, clap it up. She's got an incoming freshman too. And so Maggie is here both as one of our principals as well as a parent. Brad Ashmore in the back. Brad Ashmore, clap it up for Brad, why not? Brad also has a high school student and kids coming through. I've graduated too myself, and we're invested in this community, and we want this school to be for you what it was for our kids as well. And then Durand Hunter, Mr. Durand Hunter joined us this year. His kid isn't in high school yet, but before too long perhaps. But we have a super talented team that if you need something, email, phone call, stop by, you're going to get what you need. I can promise you that. And we also, And the folks that I'm going to turn this over to here, super wonderful group. Next week happens to be National School Counselor Week. So if you're going to clap it up for anybody, clap it up for this next group, please. Maddie Schaefer, come on up, Maddie.
Hi, everybody. I am Maddie Schaefer. I'm one of the new school counselors here at OHS, and we are going to do another introduction of a team. Mr. Pliner introduced his team, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce our team. So, like I said, Maddie Schaefer, I have everybody with last names O through Z, and then we have Miss Jurasevich. She's going to have everybody with last names A through F, or if you're in the AVID program, and then we have Miss Angeli. Miss Angeli has everybody with last names G through N, and then one person who's not here today but is in the building doing a lot of her role, which is coordinating counseling, that's Miss Tracy. So she does things like testing coordination, master scheduling, all of the minute details that go into school counseling and to run an effective school counseling program. Continuing on, we break our school into these small learning communities to help us create a sense of community for your kids. And so these are our neighborhoods. We have last names A through F, and AVID is going to be Miss J and Mrs. Zawicki. We have last names G through N, which is going to be Miss Angeli and Mr. Hunter. And then Mr. Ashmore and I are paired together for last names O through Z. We have, wrong way. We have an expansive student services team here at OHS. So we have two admin assistants, Miss Olkey and Miss Dunn. They're kind of the front faces of student services. So when you walk in, that's who's going to greet you and help you get connected to who you need to see that day. We also have Miss Mitchell. She's our social worker here at OHS, and she's the person who does a lot of community outreach. She does a lot for the school in terms of resources. We also have Miss D'Amelio, who you'll hear from later tonight. She's our school to career coordinator and also helps with early college credit programming. Miss Oscar is our mental health coordinator. We also have two school psychologists. We have Miss Lauby and Miss Hanson. They do a lot of our evaluations here and help with 504 coordination as well. So that's our student services team. We also want to talk a little bit about some upcoming dates for your 8th graders. So February 1st, this Thursday, we're going to be visiting OMS to go over course selection materials and distribute the course selection forms. So we'll be going into all the 8th grade classrooms, giving a lot of information about the course selection process, and then giving them their documents to go and sign up for classes and talk with you at home about that. And then February 8th, those are going to be due back to their history teacher at OMS. So we'll visit on the 1st, they'll have a week to fill it out, have conversations with you at home, bring them back, turn them into their history teacher, and then the following week, us counselors are going back to the middle school to actually do the course selections and enter them into Zello, which is the program that we use for scheduling. So 3 upcoming dates, February 1st, February 8th, and February 15th. Just things to keep in mind. I keep going the wrong way. It's the opposite of what I think it's going to be. The next slide here is academic and career planning, something that we also refer to as ACP. And this is something that starts usually kind of in the middle school level. They sometimes talk a little bit about it at RCI and Forest Edge. It really has a lot to do with who am I as a learner, where do I want to go, what are my goals, what are my learning styles. And at the high school, this is embedded into a lot of our classrooms, but primarily you'll see this during Connections. And Connections looks a little bit different at the high school than it does at the middle school. We just have Connections 1 day a week instead of every day, but that's where you'll see a lot of these academic and career planning lessons take place. Speaking of career clusters, we have 16 career clusters, and again, this is information that they start teaching at RCI, Forest Edge, OMS, and really the point of the career clusters is to help students starting to think about what are their areas of interest, what do they excel in, what are the things that they feel really confident and good at, and then turning that into course selection, right? So how do we get them set up for success through their courses here at OHS? So knowing some career clusters are going to help them determine what classes and pathways they want to take through the high school. And then lastly, 4-year planning. So this is something that they'll do at the middle school. I think it happens during their health class. And so this is a guide that they'll use throughout high school. It's not set in stone, so they might do some four-year planning in middle school, and they'll choose classes for senior year. That doesn't mean that those have to be the classes that they take their senior year, but it's just a guide to start thinking through what are those areas of interest, and they'll for sure enter their 9th grade courses, and then they can just use that as a reference when they go through sophomore, junior, and senior year, because sometimes you have to start looking at things like prerequisites. So if you know that you want to end up in the pet and vet science class, you know that you might need to take animals, plants, and you your freshman year. So it's just kind of starting to do some planning to make sure that students can get into the classes of their preference in those later upperclassmen years. All right, I'm turning it over to Miss Angeli.
Hey everyone, I'm Miss Angeli. Some of you who have other older students might know me as Miss Studer. I got married last year, and so that's where the name change came from. And I get to talk a little bit more about what does it take to get across that stage and get that diploma in a few years. So when we go over to the middle school and help them enter courses into Zello for 9th grade, we are always keeping in mind, what does it take to graduate? What are some of those requirements? So just to review some of them, students need 4 years of English, 3 of the other cores, 1.5 PE, a half of a health, a half of a personal finance and political science, and then the remaining is electives. So we're going to talk a little bit more about what that means and what courses they're going to put in for 8th grade. But in addition to that, they will also need 40 service hours, and that can be done anytime after 8th grade, from the summer before 9th grade on. And parents always ask me, can we turn in the hours? They worked a summer camp and they got all 40 hours. Yes, please turn them in if you have the hours. You don't have to just do 10 per year. You can turn them all in if you have them already. Okay, so when we go over to the middle school, you're probably wondering what are some courses you want to help your child sign up for. These are some courses that are going to be very typical of an incoming 9th grader. So let's start with English, 1 English, 1 math, 1 science, 1 credit of social studies, a half a credit fitness foundation, and then depending on how many other electives they choose will determine how many resources or study halls. So for example, there's 8 periods in a day. So if a student puts into Zello 6 credits, that would mean they automatically have 2 study halls. You can have up to 2 study halls per semester. If they put 7 credits into Zello, that means they automatically have 1 study hall per semester. So let's break this down just a little bit more and see, how do you know which English, which math to pick? Okay, so for English, freshmen have 2 options. They can either choose English 9 or Honors English 9. Honors English 9 is going to be a bit more rigorous than English 9, a bit more challenging, and I would say those, that's primarily the 2 biggest differences between the 2. Okay, math is just a little bit more complicated because it's dependent on which math class your child is in now in 8th grade. So if your child is in regular math 8 in 8th grade, which is the majority of students, they will sign up for algebra in 9th grade. If they are currently sitting in algebra right now in 8th grade, they're going to pick geometry in 9th grade. And if they're currently sitting in geometry right now, they're going to pick algebra 2 in 9th grade. And beyond that, I think we might have 1 student currently sitting in algebra 2 now. You might also see algebra support as a suggestion over the summer. That's based on math teacher recommendations if they feel like instead of 1 resource, they could use a little bit more additional algebra support. Okay, so for the freshman social studies class, this is pretty universal. Everybody takes U.S. history or U.S. in the 20th century. This is also the class where they, actually, Mr. Planner, did they switch? Is civics exam going to be in political science now?
I'm not sure if it applies yet to this group.
Okay. Sounds good. So in addition, in this class, it's either in this class or maybe a little bit later during political science, they might also work on passing their civics exam requirement, which is a state mandated requirement for graduation. Okay, Fitness Foundations is the PE. It's a half credit class that almost every freshman takes. And it's a pretty standard PE. They take one semester of it. I'm gonna turn it over to our awesome science teacher.
Hi, I'm here to give you a quick glimpse of science class options. I'm Nathan Johnson. I'm a science teacher here at the high school. And the reason you get me for a quick glimpse into our core area here, and the other subjects don't, is we don't have a clear pathway through the sciences. Our goal is to give flexibility in terms of what students are taking for science. So there's no, here's the 9th grade class, there's no, here's the pathway you have to take through science. What we have available is there's 2.5 credits that are in our introductory level of science. And the menu I'm going to talk about is generally the menu of classes of what students will take during both 9th and 10th grade. So that's something you could think about is of these quick classes I'm going to run through, that likely is 9th and 10th grade classes. We do have some students who choose during 10th grade to get into more advanced science, but in terms of our general pathway, this is the menu targeted at 9th and 10th grade. So looking at our options here, we've got a semester course on it. It's an introduction to electricity and magnetism. It's a quick look at light bulbs and electricity and magnets and just some of these basic everyday things that we have around us and how they work. It's very accessible and engaging in terms of seeing this everyday stuff around us with that. We've got a semester course in environmental science, which is largely focused on the world around us and how human activities impact the world around us. We have a semester course in Earth and Space Science, which is looking at our planet Earth, its surface and interior. It's looking at the solar system, stars, and the Big Bang. So that's a semester class there as well. And finally, we have a year-long class that's biology. In the first semester, they're looking at the small scale, cells and genetics. And in the second semester, they're looking at the bigger picture of human body systems, mammal body systems, plant systems, and some bigger picture biology. So just think about a general pathway for many students, 9th and 10th grade. Looks like one of those 2 years, they're doing a year of biology, and the other year, they're picking out of those half-credit sciences to put together a year of science as well. So you could look at 9th and 10th grade and think about, okay, how do I want to structure 2 years out of that? Or do I also want to target maybe 10th grade, I want to look at some more advanced science classes, jump into class with some juniors if you want to get a little more advanced during your 10th grade year. All right, so that's your menu for science classes.
Mr. Johnson. So remember, you need 1 credit of science for freshman year. So if you're picking biology, you're signing up for both Bio 1 and 2. If you are choosing from the elective sciences, you are making sure you pick at least 2 of them so you can get to that 1 credit. Okay, so let's go through some of the electives. I'm going to just show you up there, maybe give a little bit of extra tidbits on some of them, but in general, I'm going to recommend looking through, talking to your child, seeing where their interests are. This is a great time to really start exploring career interests and maybe sign up for a course. If they're not sure they're liking that as an interest, this is a great time to learn that. So let's take a look at agriculture. Freshman year, there's a couple agriculture options. One is natural resources, which also counts as a science credit. And another one is animals, plants, and you. Both of those are wonderful classes and very popular. For art, the standard art class that all freshmen sign up for is Art 1. If you look at the screen though, you can see there are a variety of other options also available after freshman year if you, without the Art 1 prereq. So there are some you can take if you haven't had Art 1. I will say the majority of art classes that you can take do require Art 1 as the prereq. So if you really have your heart set on ceramics junior year or painting sophomore year, you will have to have Art 1 as the prereq freshman year. There are several options for business that we are fortunate to have here at OHS. And so if you take a look up here, these are some popular ones that students all choose from, and not only freshman students, but sometimes there'll be some sophomores, juniors, and even some seniors who want to try them out. So Digital Tech 1 and 2, Web Design, Multimedia, Business Economics and Marketing is a great introductory class if you're not quite sure which direction you want to go within that department. It's only a semester, so it's a short period of time to try it out. Microsoft Office and Yearbook. I want to point out that the number of classes that actually will be able to run are determined by the number of students that sign up for them. So if you really have an interest in something, please be sure to sign up. And we always tell students at the middle school to really sign up for classes that are of interest to them and not just, you know, talking to friends or that kind of thing, because there's no guarantee you'll be together in those classes. All right, Family and Consumer Sciences. We have a variety of classes. A really popular one we've had several students pick is Child Development, Teen Chef, Focus on Fashion and Food Science did not, or Exploring Hospitality did not run this year, but that doesn't mean if several students sign up that it won't run. It just didn't this year. And then Intro to Occupational Health Careers is a great introductory class if you have an interest in medicine or the medical field or any health sciences in general. Okay, IT. So here are some great tech ed courses available for freshmen. Wonderful overview kind of classes. Foundations of Tech and Engine, or you might see it as in the course catalog or the ACP guide. And that's a great introductory class where you're getting some of the engineering and you're getting some of the technology in there. And then Small Engines is a half credit class. These are some of the marketing classes we have available for freshmen. Principles of Marketing is a year-long course, and then later on, if they really enjoy that class, they have the option to take an advanced level of that. And then Leadership, which is a half credit course. And I don't know, is Mr. Dyerseth here? Okay, so we have a couple in-person language options at our school. We have German and we have Spanish, and they run from levels 1 through 5. We have often are in communication with the foreign language teachers at the middle school, and they'll often send us a list of names that they might recommend. Let's say you're in Spanish 1 at the middle school now. They may recommend you starting in Spanish 2 here. Or maybe you aren't in Spanish 1, but they recommend it. So we often go off of their recommendations, but I would really encourage you to have a conversation with your foreign language teacher to get a better idea of where's going to be the best fit for you as well. Is there anything the other counselors want me to add to that? Okay, sounds good. And they're always welcome to, you know, if you go home tonight and you're all talking it through, please bring those questions to OMS, and students, please ask us those questions. That's really helpful. All right, I'm going to turn it over to our wonderful School to Career and Early College Credit Counselor, Ms. Emilio.
Good evening, I'm Anna D'Amelio. I'm the School to Career Coordinator here. And I have a couple tips for you. First of all, it was mentioned before that you have a 40-hour volunteer requirement. So, of course, we want to do that because we want to give back to the community and we want to take care of that requirement as well. But I also encourage students when I meet with them to take advantage of the volunteer requirement as another way for them to explore themselves, the things they like, the things they don't. That's a form of career exploration too. So definitely take advantage of that. We have ACP, definitely actively engage in ACP when we have it on Wednesdays. On the Wednesdays we have it. And take elective courses, and I know this was just mentioned, but they allow you to learn more about yourself and to learn more about yourself in terms of what you like, what you don't like. You're going to learn more skills. And so you're gonna learn skills in your core classes, you're gonna learn skills in your elective classes, but when the alumni panelists came, one of the bits of advice a few of them had was take some elective classes that interest you and even some that you wouldn't even think of because you don't know what you don't know until you give it a try. Your students will probably see me when they're starting to plan for their junior and senior year because I work with students who want to take classes at either Madison College or UW. And I also work with students who want to do things like youth apprenticeship. Youth apprenticeship spans all sorts of different career pathways. We have students who've taken a few classes here and they've gotten interested in things like IT, automotive, HVAC, plumbing, carpentry, biotech, health science, all sorts of different health science careers. And so after you've taken some of those electives, come see me and start planning for your junior, senior year because there might just be a job for you where you can get paid and get credit. All right, well, I look forward to meeting you as the years progress, and thank you very much.
All right, good evening, everybody. As mentioned before, I'm Mrs. Jurasevich. Students call me Miss J because I recognize it's really hard to pronounce. I'm going to just share a little bit about some additional supports that we have here at the high school. So oftentimes students come in as freshmen and sometimes they struggle, and that's okay. We are here to support you and help navigate that together. And so some of those opportunities are algebra support, which was mentioned before. So this is a class that you can take in addition to Algebra 1 that you can earn credit for, where they review different skills that are taught in Algebra 1 and is a one-on-one opportunity to work with a teacher and get homework help. The Success Center is a classroom that we have here at the high school with 2 teachers that students can go to during their study halls to get additional support with homework help, with studying, with organization, with communicating between a student and a teacher, and they specifically only help freshmen and sophomores, so they are really knowledgeable in the core content for freshmen and sophomore classes. PASS, or Panther After School Study, is an opportunity for students to stay in the library after school from 4 to 5, Monday through Thursday, to just be able to have some space to work in a quieter, calm environment. A lot of times, I mean, we all can say the same thing. We go home after work and we're done, right? Like, we do not want to keep going and working, so students are the same. So it might be really helpful to stay and be in the library and work on your homework before you head home. We do have a late bus, so students don't have to worry about transportation. Peer tutoring is another opportunity for students to get support and, in the future, help other students get support. So we utilize our upperclassmen who are really knowledgeable in different areas, and they will meet with underclassmen to work on a specific subject during a study hall, before school, after school, or during lunch. So that's an opportunity as well. Learning resource is what we call our study halls. And oftentimes something we will do to help students who might be struggling in a specific area is place them in a learning resource with a teacher of that content area. So maybe you're struggling in English. We might choose to place you in a study hall with an English teacher, so you have that person right there that you can ask questions. And then finally, we have math resource, which essentially is a study hall with a math teacher who is there dedicated to be able to help you work on that homework, or help you with studying for a test, or retaking a test, or whatever that may look like. So a lot of opportunities to get help here. Okay, one of my favorite things to talk about. So AVID, which stands for Advancement Via Individual Determination, is a program we have here, and AVID's mission is essentially to try to close the opportunity gap to help make students career and college ready. It is a class that you would take if you were accepted into the program, and all 4 years you would stay with that same group of students and that same teacher, and you really truly become like a family atmosphere. That's kind of my favorite part about it, is we really get to know each other super well. The class specifically teaches different studying strategies, different note-taking strategies. We do college visits, we do some ACT prep, so it's really for those students who have a very clear path of wanting to go to college, but they might have some barriers in place that limit their ability to get support in meeting that goal. And our hope is to have some wraparound supports to be able to help them reach that. So again, there is an application and an interview process to get accepted into the AVID program, but it's a really great opportunity. And if you're curious about learning a little bit more, we actually have some AVID students and our AVID coordinator out in the lobby outside of the PAC that you can ask them questions after we're done. Freshman orientation. I cannot believe we're talking about this already and haven't planned, but it is Wednesday, August 21st in the morning, and this is the opportunity for you to come into the building. You get to do some big team building stuff as a class. You get to meet some upperclassmen or Pride crew members who are amazing students that will help you throughout your entire freshman year. And you get the opportunity to just learn a little bit more about the culture here at the high school. You get to ask questions and get some answers about what high school is like from upperclassmen. And you get your schedule and the opportunity to walk around the building, get to know it a little bit better, find your locker, all of that good stuff. So we highly, highly recommend that you come for this short morning to be able to learn a little bit more about the high school. We at the high school also use something called Text Remind. We recognize that cell phones are the direct contact to our students versus email. So, although we do email, and make sure you're checking your email, but we also will send out reminders through this Text Remind app, and all you have to do is text. The number is 81010, and you text that at OHS-2028, and then that automatically signs you up, and we will send out reminders to you about picture retake, or hey, it's homecoming week, here are the dress-up days, or as you get farther along in high school, we'll send out reminders about the ACT, or different opportunities when different colleges come to visit, things like that. So it's a really great way to stay connected to student services and learn about opportunities. Don't worry, we will remind you to do this on Thursday, students. And then last, we just have a lot of different contact information, so all the different departments. The next slide is going to be student services. And again, this presentation will be sent out to you, so you will have these direct contacts if you need them. Student services. And that is it for the evening. We counselors will stay up here if you have some individual questions that you would like answered. We're just really excited for the coming 4 years and can't wait to welcome you next year. Thank you.
No.